I'm about to meet a couple who've invested a lot more than just money into their current house. It's been in the same family for 3 generations. And rather than just sell off, shall we call it, their family seat, they'd rather sink their savings into the basement in the hope that they can create the perfect family home for the future. Space. It's a national obsession, and we'll show you how people all around the country are stretching their houses upwards. It is absolutely massive up here, isn't it? And downwards. Wow. In an effort to maximise every last inch.
And the most challenging thing is getting it done by the date we're meant to have it done.
But turning your home into a construction zone
there you go.
Can push lives to breaking point.
Their house is still standing, so that's the important thing.
And when normality returns, will it be worth all the hassle and the heartache?
I might be looking for a new wife and a new house to live in.
This unspoilt and wild corner of the Ilkley Moor is home to the Stoney family. Consultants Martin and Emma live here with their 3 daughters, Florence, Lucia and little toddler Esme. Close to the fashionable spa town of Ilkley and the wide-open countryside, they love where they live. And Emma's also got a special emotional attachment to their home.
My grandfather and grandmother bought this house from new, and my dad was raised here as a little boy. And then when my parents were married, they bought this house from my granddad. I was raised here. I have memories here from when I was little. And then obviously it's gone on to be 3rd generation. Quite unusual, I would have thought. It's never been out of my family. I now feel obliged to sell it to one of our children.
The house has been in Emma's family since it was built in 1937. And when Martin moved in, he didn't really feel like it was his house.
It was very, very strange. I must admit, it didn't feel like I was coming home. I felt like I was coming into Emma's parents. And then we had to be very careful equally in terms of decorating, and you know, I had my hand slapped a couple of times because I'd say, oh well, we've ripped out that thing there, and obviously we've changed that.
And I was saying, don't use the words ripped out, because that's actually quite offensive. Just we've taken out the fireplace.
They were very good.
But if Emma's parents were a bit sensitive about knocking down the odd fireplace, they'll be shocked to discover they're planning on gutting the ground floor and converting the basement into a large kitchen diner.
It's just an underutilised space. You think, well, I wish we could change that.
So this is going to be the kitchen, grey gloss units, white worktops. The wall will come down and we'll be able to see how long the dining room's going to actually be.
Although this project should allow Martin to make the house feel much more like his own, it's clear he'll be making all the big decisions.
I do all the research, choose the 3 things that I like best, and then present those to Martin. So he is, in effect, having a choice, but they are my choices initially that he's choosing from.
Me in a position of weakness.
For both of them, this is a huge long-term investment. But being so close to a busy road, their house has a limited ceiling price, and they could be in danger of overdeveloping.
I got one of the local estate agents to come round. He said, don't do this if you're going to move next year, because you will not recoup what you're going to spend.
So, with so much at stake, I wanted to find out more about Emma and Martin's plans.
Hello.
Hi there.
All right, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
By converting their basement, Martin and Emma will be able to free up a whole load of space on the ground floor of their house.
So this is the kitchen.
Yeah.
We're just starting to find it's getting a little bit small now, with 5 of us. Not enough room for 2 people to work in here,
No,
and 3 children running round.
So this is all going then?
Yeah, this will be an office where we're stood now.
And they'll even be able to reclaim the landing on the 1st floor. This could become maybe a homework area. That'll make such a difference to your house, won't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But this isn't the first time that Emma's family will have extended the house. In 1977, after buying the property from her grandfather for £20,000, Emma's dad spent an extra £5,000 and built a 2-storey extension. This could be history repeating itself, a cement mixer outside your house.
Exactly.
And that's strange.
By the time we've finished, it's Stoney Towers, we're going to call it. It's going to be massive, isn't it?
It will be a sizable house when it's all done, won't it?
It will.
So, with visions of grandeur, I wanted to find out just how much cash they're planning on sinking into the ground. So how much money are you spending on this project?
60.
60,000 is the budget, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the dream figure, really. Well, not necessarily dream. If we can do it for 55, that's the dream.
Is 60 your cut-off then, Martin?
No. And that's the dangerous thing, you know.
Yes, it is.
And I probably shouldn't be saying that, but it's kind of a figure that we want to work towards.
So how long from start to finish do you think this build project's going to take?
The builders have told us 10 weeks, which means it would be finished in time for the school holidays for the summer.
That's quite punchy. That's a short amount of time. What are your biggest fears?
You build up a great expectation of what it will look like, and you know, all these things that we've said about the family space, etc., etc.
Yeah.
If you come away with a slight disappointment, if something's not quite right, I don't think that will be the case. I kind of got a sense as to what we could achieve.
You never know, this might be taken on by one of your children, the fourth generation.
Yeah,
I feel obliged to make one of them buy it.
Which one of your children will take it on? Who knows?
We don't want to be thinking.
It will be the heir.
So Martin and Emma have got a budget of £60,000. £36,000 will go towards the building costs, and the remaining £24,000 will be spent on all the fixtures and fittings. They plan to transform their basement into a large open-plan kitchen diner with double doors leading onto the garden. Just off the kitchen, there'll be space for a utility room, and at the bottom of the stairs, they'll also have a much-needed second family bathroom. But this is only part of a larger plan, which will involve remodelling the ground floor, turning their old kitchen and dining room into a home office. So, Martin and Emma are spending £60,000 converting their basement, which, by my reckoning, is around 20% of its current value. With my property head on, bearing in mind it's next door to a main road, it doesn't really make financial sense, not in the short term. But it's not about that for them. This is about turning the house they know and love into a family home for them all for the future. Martin and Emma have decided to employ basementconversions.com, a newly formed firm that offered a competitive quote. Although co-founders Nigel and Julian are experienced builders, this will be their company's first ever basement conversion.
This is the first project that we've done. Emma called me, and it was the first call that we got from the website. As a first job, it's a huge project for us.
But Emma and Martin had no idea that this will be their first ever job.
The very first project? Oh, I didn't know that.
They've never dealt with us before. They don't know anyone that's dealt with us, and we're a new company. So from that point of view, there's a lot of trust involved.
The first task is to clear out the basement and knock down all the old cellar walls. For Martin, he can't wait to see what their new dining room might be like.
I'm excited about this now. It's been the one part of the project that's actually been really hard to visualise.
But as the build gets underway, they're beginning to discover their new space might not quite be what they'd expected.
They've got a picture in their head of what they want. Sometimes what they want isn't exactly what they can have.
Because of all the insulation, waterproof membrane and supporting beams that have to be installed into a basement, it can feel like all the walls are closing in on you.
They've seen this large, deep basement. When you put all this gear in, everything shrinks.
You know, you can see how much that's hanging down by.
So, in an attempt to reclaim some of that lost space, they've come up with a plan to replace all the rectangular beams for square ones.
Literally, it's that. We're going to lift the ceiling up by that much.
It doesn't look a lot when you start talking about an inch, really, but then it's a continuation across the room.
They might be gaining nothing more than an inch, but in order to keep their clients happy and on side, the builders have decided to replace all the beams at no extra cost.
The outcome's been absolutely brilliant.
Emma and Martin are coming up to around the halfway point. I'm keen to see just how they're getting on. So what I'm dying to see inside, can we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go. What's the best way in?
We'll go this way.
Through the bog?
Yeah.
This part is the kitchen.
It is.
Yep.
The sink's over there, and then the hob is here, so that when you're cooking, you're looking out into the garden
Yep.
and into the dining room.
Notice how animated Emma becomes talking about this kitchen.
Beautiful.
You're frowning a bit there. Is it?
It's just a natural reaction. I glaze.
You told me the build period was supposed to be, what was it? Was it 10 weeks?
10 weeks.
How far into the 10 weeks are we here?
Are we
5.
4 we've done?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're coming to the end of
this is week 5. I know, don't look so sceptical. That's kind of how I feel as well.
If it happens on time, it will be quite some achievement. Well, I think Emma's goal of moving in before the school holidays is a bit optimistic. And the builders also seem to think they might need some flexibility. I did hear initially that it was going to be a 10-week build.
It's always going to be a 10 to 12-week build.
A 10 to 12 week build. Here comes the builder.
You're only talking 2 weeks. You have to have some flexibility.
10 to 12 week build.
Look, don't shoot the messenger, gentlemen. I was told around 10 weeks.
Yeah, if they want to hear 10 weeks, fair enough.
What did you tell them?
What did I tell them? 10 to 12 weeks?
Right.
Yep.
OK.
2 months ago, the Stoney family called in the builders to help them transform their home. And for Emma, there's an emotional reason for making sure this project's a success.
My grandfather and grandmother bought this house from new. My dad grew up here as a little boy. I was raised here, and then obviously it's gone on to the 3rd generation.
They've got high hopes for their basement conversion, but their expectations don't seem to be matching up to reality.
You can see how much that's hanging down by.
They've got a picture in their head of what they want. Sometimes what they want isn't exactly what they can have.
They're almost 2 months in, and after worries over ceiling height, Emma's now concerned that their new doorway feels more like a hobbit's entrance.
It used to be a step down into the cellar, and now with all the insulation and everything raising the floor height up, it feels even shorter. Most of our friends would have to duck, and, you know, it needs to be up here, doesn't it?
Just a quick one. It was just in my head. I'm thinking you've got a great big door there.
Yes.
If it's going to be a huge job here,
Yes.
Why not just block it off?
Because we would then not have a proper back door. This is kind of our entrance in and out of the house.
I see. It makes sense to widen
Move it that way
this,
and go up at the same time.
I need to work out what those costs are, and I have to clarify that.
Structural work like this is both expensive and time-consuming, as they've got to prop up the entire house while they carefully enlarge the opening. Yet despite the setbacks and changes to plan, their basement is at last beginning to resemble what they hope will become an integral part of their family home. For Emma, she can now start to think about decorating and soft furnishings, but at this stage, she's got to rein in her spending.
Sort of off busy buying nice dining chairs and bits and pieces. So I just want to make sure that although I'm spending money on those things, primarily we need to make sure there's money for the building work. That needs to be finished before I start worrying about whether my mugs match my work surfaces.
According to original estimates, the building should have now been completed and the Stoney family enjoying their newly renovated house. But that doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon.
No, I must admit, at the beginning... Shush, Martin. At the beginning, I did have lovely images in my mind of the summer holidays, the patio doors open, the girls coming in and out, the back garden not looking like a building site, and just being able to really utilise the new kitchen space. That hasn't happened, and I would guess we're at least 5 weeks away from it being completely finished. OK, Martin's going to disagree. I bet it is. I bet it's 5 weeks. Do you not think?
No, I would have thought it's slightly less.
OK, well, let's place bets.
Still unsure about when everything's going to be finished, the installation of Emma's new kitchen has given her a boost.
Oh, that looks good. Oh, that's lovely. Very, very nice. Lovely colour. There you go. That one's 2 sugars.
After months spent agonising over styles and colour waves, it's no surprise that her budget has also started to creep up.
I've decided that I wanted to splurge a little bit on the worktops just to try and make the whole kitchen look a little bit more designer and expensive. I've gone for white. It's called Lapland, so it's white with a silver sparkle in it, which should look really nice. But then this middle section here, we've chosen cherry red. Should I have picked red? Should I not have gone for something a bit more standard than red? But I'm sure it's going to go in and I'm going to think, wow, yes, I'm really pleased I chose that. I hope.
With worries over decor and the messiest part of the build about to begin, Martin and Emma have decided to leave the chaos behind them and escape to the seaside.
So by the time they get back from holiday, they'll have a fully operational kitchen in the basement. And we'll have done all the dusty, dirty work upstairs.
The pressure's now on the builders, and they have just over a week to complete all that they've promised.
When we get back from our holidays, we're going to have a really dramatic wow moment. So it will be a real shock when we get back. Well, not a shock, because that makes it sound bad, a surprise.
The build's now in its final stages, and Emma and Martin will soon discover if their basement conversion is everything they hoped for when they started this journey.
The last time I saw Emma and Martin, their house was a bit of a building site. There was a skip right here, and there was a cement mixer where they've now got a pretty front garden. I wonder how the basement's looking. Oh, the weather's on the turn. How are you?
It is. It's good to see you.
You too.
Hi, Johnny.
All done inside?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we are. Should we have a look?
Go inside.
Yeah, look at this Yorkshire weather.
I know.
Oh, look at this. Wowzers. This isn't actually how I expected it.
Isn't it?
No.
In a bad way or a good way?
Better, much better. I mean, first of all, it looks absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
I'm still surprised what I see now. You've got definite areas for definite use and purposes, but you've still got a flow.
The dining room was probably about similar size to this, wasn't it?
For some
But
reason,
it was
it
a separate
seems
room.
bigger.
You know why it seems bigger? First of all, you've got those wonderful double doors spilling out onto the garden.
Yeah.
It must be wonderful in the summer. But also, your eye's thrown. It's a part of a much bigger space.
Yeah.
This kitchen looks like someone's dream kitchen. Pretty special, actually. Who designed this?
It was
Me,
you,
mainly.
wasn't it?
I wanted the hob facing the dining area so that when I was cooking, I was facing, I'm imagining myself entertaining. Maybe not burning things, but just entertaining and stirring something and chatting to
Is
guests.
burning part of your entertainment process?
Not
Tonight I'll be mostly
Yeah,
burning.
it depends how much chatting she's doing. Well,
That's true.
I suppose another advantage of this extra worktop space is the fact you've got more storage as well, have you?
We have, yeah. We were able to utilise all the way into where the chimney breast was. So we've got the shelf up on the top there with all my cookbooks, which was pleasing. And then underneath, we've got a cupboard that pulls all
it goes right in,
the way
doesn't it?
out. It does. So you kind of get all the way back to the back of that recess, which, you know, that would have, like I say, just been wasted space.
So, Emma, how do you look upon the house now? What's the impact on this development?
It just seems really big. We seem like we've got loads more space than we did have. The house feels huge, doesn't it?
it does.
Maybe we could have a sit down and talk about
Yeah,
the whole
absolutely.
project and how it's all gone.
Yeah.
All right, lead the way.
When Emma and Martin started this project, their basement was an underused space at the bottom of their house. Now, just look at what they've managed to achieve. Having knocked down walls, they've created not only a great family kitchen, but the perfect place for entertaining guests. Down in what was their cellar, they've also managed to find space for a utility room. And just off the kitchen, they now have a second family bathroom. Moving upstairs, they've made their old kitchen into a study, turning this house into a home for perhaps future generations to come.
So, you said you were going to spend
60.
60 grand,
60
yeah?
and a 5.
And a 5 was the contingency. So we've spent the whole lot. We've spent 65, but we haven't spent more than that.
What about time-wise then? How long have the builders been out of your hair?
Not that long, have they really?
We literally finished painting bits and pieces in the last few days.
Really?
Yeah, no, they said 10, but I think if they'd come and said 20 weeks, I might have had a heart attack and said, well, don't bother. I can't face the idea of 20 weeks of building. But actually, they were here every day and working their socks off.
Yeah, they did work very well.
Martin and Emma took a punt on their builders, and looking at the results, they definitely made the right decision. Now, to celebrate their new home, they've decided to throw a party.
Fantastic, it's got that real wow factor to it, you know. Wasn't expecting it at all when I came downstairs.
Absolutely love it. I think it's amazing, the space. Have a basement at home, and it's making me think, could we do this in our house?
Considering that I lived here for so many years as a young boy, I could never have imagined that it would have turned out like it has.
What we've ended up with is, you know, it's probably my dream kitchen.
I really am delighted. I'll be honest, yeah, I really am. It's more than I hoped for.
When Emma and Martin embarked on this project, it wasn't about how much they could increase this property's value by or whether they could sell it off and make a quick buck. No, it was about getting hold of this house, which has been in Emma's family for generations now, and turning it into something that was modern, stylish, but most of all fit for 21st century living. And having clearly achieved that, I think it's fair to say that it'll remain in the family for many years to come.